on either side, and Coach Odom and Coach Crimmins.
We're excited about seeing you guys all day. Great to see you guys.
So we'll start right here in the front.
Dan Tortora, Broadcast Media. Tony, when you look at this team, I talked with Malcolm a little bit about the resolve of the team and response to resiliency. You lost a couple guys, but it seems like you still have that veteran leadership that knows how to win maybe when people have counted you out, and just go into that atmosphere you've created.
Yeah, I think that's our formula for success at a place like Virginia, to get a group of guys to grow them up, turn into upperclassmen, and rely on that experience, because there's no substitute for the games under their belt, the tournament play, the experiences that they have, and then you rely on that. And we're not like a lot of programs where you have a lot of one-and-done guys, but you rely on guys who understand your system, who are battle-tested. And I think that's going to be a key for us this year heading into it. And there's a handful of those guys. We don't have a clone for Joe Harris or a clone for Keel Mitchell, but we'll be different in some ways. But there are some constants that we'll make, and I think that'll give us the best chance to be as successful as we can.
Coach Tortora last time.
Coxville Broadcasting Coach, your team was one of the surprise teams last year, and now putting the nation on notice. How do you feel your team will handle the level of success coming into the season?
It remains to be seen. I think all you can do is really embrace, and accept the challenge of the moment, and then you deal appropriately with the aftermath. And that's really all you can do. The expectations. I think we make a mistake if we try to compare ourselves to last year. So last year at this time we were at this point, and forget all that. I told our guys, come together. I said, get as good as you could be this year. They'll never take away what happened last year. And perhaps that might be better than last year. You might go further. Perhaps you won't be as good. You won't go as far. Doesn't matter. You get as good as you can be. Challenge each other. We know how we have to play. We know we're not a knockout punch team. We don't have these huge runs. We're as consistent and as physical and as sound on both ends of the floor. And when you do that, you have a chance. And that's what I want them focusing on. I quoted the Oregon football. Ever heard that win the day? That's their theme. And that really is. Good programs, great coaches back here. They'll tell you, you just get in line in the process. You stay true to that. You fall in love with it. And all the end results take care of themselves. You don't worry too much about it. Have aspirations, have goals. You have to. But that's the separator. And the other stuff that can be a distraction if you get too caught up with preparing yourself for what you're there to. So we got some challenges in front of us and wonderful opportunities, but experience will be key.
Stay on the side right here.
Coach Bennett, I heard from CarolinaBlitz.com. The ACC is the premier basketball conference in the nation, one of the. But in March, you guys were the only team that made it past the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. The league as a whole, do you think that the league has something to prove?
Well, I think you have a chance to represent yourself all the time. If you look at the history, we've got some talking points when we come in, but it's obvious. There's 6 national championships in the last 14 years, and that's taking into account certain Syracuse, Louisville. But it's been successful. But I think, right or wrong, teams now are judged, coaches, in large part teams are judged, conferences are judged by how many and how deep you go in the NCAA tournament. So certainly we want to make that, and with the depth of the conference, with the talent in it, I think we are in a spot where if we can do that, it will show that the ACC is elite. And a lot of coaches said this is similar to what the Big East had when they got multiple teams in it. And so you still got to prove it, and that's what's before us. And but I think that there's a great opportunity for that. We want to keep going, but there's so much parity in college basketball. I mean, I played at a mid-major in college. You can't be so naive to think that you're not invincible. I know our team's beatable, and our guys have to understand that whoever we play. When we understand that, it makes us better. And I think just because we're in the ACC, just because you're in a power conference, when you step into play, when you play in the NCAA tournament, if you're fortunate to get there, you got to produce, you got to play, because the separation, it's getting smaller and smaller now. We can get multiple teams further in, that'll just certainly enhance, because that's what it's about. You want as many teams as you can get for a league like this, because you're going to beat yourself up, and you need that. So I think that will certainly help.
Tony, when you look at your time at Virginia, what have you learned the most about yourself as a coach? And then on the other side of it, how do you see yourself as a teacher? How do you view yourself?
As a coach, I know I got more questions than answers. I think I've learned as a younger coach. I remember I was you've heard that saying, you're jack of all trades, master. And I remember I took over from my father. I'm like, okay, it's good. I got my dance stuff. I want to add a little bit of a continuity offense. I know the coaches will let us. We're going to press. We're going to run some sets. We're going to have a zone. I'm going to do all these more stuff. We're going to be a little more exciting. And I realized there's not enough time in practice to get all that stuff done. I'm like, we're not very good at anything. We're just kind of blah in the middle. And I think as I've matured as a coach, you just kind of strip away all the stuff that doesn't matter. Especially when you come into a league like this and you're building it, you say, what's going to give us a chance? And let's be as good as we can. I've almost simplified as I've matured as a coach and just said, let's do a few things as well as we can with extreme execution. Because that's what it comes down to. You cannot trick people, not with all of the great coaches in the league, with synergy, all the video stuff. So I think I've learned to not overcomplicate it. And then how would I describe myself as a teacher? I think that's what a coach is as a teacher. Your job is to inspire, to correct, it's to motivate, it's to hold guys accountable. The main thing, I think, is to push guys out of their comfort zone, because it's not natural for a team to do as well as we need them to do, to play as hard defensively or be as unselfish as perhaps we think we need to be excellent. So you got to challenge guys and push them out of their comfort zone, but then you got to come back and you got to encourage them. So it's a whole lot of stuff, and when you screw up, you apologize, and then you pick it up the next day. So I think I don't know if that describes me as a coach, but it's just, I've had one of the greatest coaches in my opinion modeled before me, my father, and I got the coach for a couple of years under Bo Ryan. And I observe people that take programs and they somehow get a maximum out of their players, and I try to really be attentive to that.
Frank Holden, who's talking about sports radio.